This document here is timely, and that's the document we have been waiting for as policymakers in the field of peace building. We are developing peace building policy now, and we need documents like this as our references. I scanned through it. I thought the books will be a critique for all of us here, also to benefit from it. And I think that will happen today along the way, right? It will then be beneficial to all of us to hear from the experts who will break it down and unpack the content of the book. It is timely because in this region of ours, according to the UN security standards, most of our countries are at level 3. Maybe Djibouti and Eritrea. South Sudan, of course, is at level 3. Sudan and Uganda today with M23 is staging a fight next door in Congo. So our region is overall volatile. We need a document like this. But we just don't need a document, we need a systematic way, systematic mechanism to deal with early warning. Early warning is one thing, but early intervention, we call preventive diplomacy, is more paramount. Our experience, our collective experience in this region is that we have always been firefighting. And I can take us back to 2013. The intervention was so quick, very early. But I think there could have been a preventive diplomacy at the time when the warning sign started to show up in this country. I remember when the SPLM conference was going on in Nyakuren Center here, the first person to detect the early warning was late Paulino Lukudo. Father Lukudo warned the parties. Actually, there were no parties, we had only one party, the SPLM then. He warned the SPLM leaders to stop the meeting and just prepare for for Christmas. And he warned that there will be no good Christmas in South Sudan if you continue with this meeting. Well, nobody listened to him. What happened, happened. But IGAD came very quickly. The conflict erupted here in Juba on the 15th of December. But within 2 weeks, IGAD intervened in Nairobi. And on January 14, 2014, we had our first meetings in Addis Ababa, which was the first IGAD initiative to bring the two parties to the table. A peace talk that took 2 years again, and which finally produced this document we call ARCIS. It was then ARCIS, which was signed in July 2015. Then we had other warnings in July 2016. Very clear. Whoever was there saw what happened. From May up to July, the warning signed that the peace agreement is going to collapse. with it. The writings were very clear on the wall. Nothing was done. Today, we are back to the same situation. This is a time in South Sudan where the same agreement that collapsed in July 2016 is also on the verge of collapse. Now it's time to intervene, and we have written to IGAD to intervene. Sometimes intervention can help if it is well meant by the mediator or whoever intervenes. Dr. Ismail Wise has been sending me documents of early warning around the region through the email. I cannot disclose them all, but I can tell you generally that he has always been correct with his analysis and with his, predictions. Ethiopia, which was the most stable country in the region, was actually on the verge of crisis when I received his first email. And the signs were very clear. The writings on the walls were very clear. Sudan, which was also stable, is now where it is, and we all know. And for us who have been in the peace talk for the last 6 years, it is very unfortunate that the institutional memory of this peace process is not intact because we have lost so many people. The first special envoy of Ethiopia, who actually pioneered the process way back in 2014, is no more. He died in that war of Ethiopia. My colleague Dirdira Mohammed, he was one of our senior ambassadors when I was with the Foreign Service of the Sudan, in the Republic of the Sudan, was the one that was also a chief mediator of this agreement we are trying to implement now. The latest version, the current version of the ARCIS, which we call ARCIS, is not there in the scene now, and you know what happened in the Sudan. This tells you more about our region, that our region is volatile. It needs a lot of preventive diplomatic mechanism among our region's leaders. Now, the ARCIS, which established the RTGO, is struggling to survive simply because the guarantors, one of them, Umar al-Bashir, is no longer there, and our mother Sudan is also in turmoil now. We are left only with a few of the leaders who were there. But honestly speaking, the midwives of the ARCIS, who vigorously participated and actually led the process, were the two presidents, President Umar al-Bashir and President Yoweri Museveni. The rest of the leaders in the region, yes, participated and also provided leadership in all their capacities. But today, look at what is happening in the Sudan. Sudan needs help from the rest of the region, the way it is. And here we are with our ARCIS. This is the situation of our region. I went to West Africa. I went to Liberia last year in December. I have seen something very different in West Africa. which is now being challenged by these military coups. But I admired what I have seen with ECOWAS. They have what they call silent diplomacy, which they do to respond to early warnings. For example, now there is elections coming up in Kenya. If you see warning sign in Kenya, you should start working on them now, not during the election or not during the post-violence. I mean, in Africa, we have something we call post-election violence, right? That is not the time to intervene because you will be just firefighting. And even if you try to intervene, you will not do much. This time around, Ambassador Ismail, I think the regions need a lot of work, and the IGAD need to be developed to a different stage. Last year we went to Adama, and actually we discussed how the regional states should support IGAD, so that we have a strong regional organization. And today, South Sudan is a member of East African Community and also a member of IGAD. Our regional organization need preventive diplomacy. Otherwise, if we don't do what we expect to do here with early warning, then our region again will be engulfed. There will be a time in this region, God forbid, where we will not have a stable one, even a single stable country. Because what happened in Sudan is spilled over to South Sudan, and what happened in South Sudan is spilled over to Uganda, and what would happen in Uganda could spill over to Kenya. And our borders are really loose. You know, I attended one of the most difficult meetings, which was detected by early warning by East African Community in 2009, when I checked the affairs of the Sudan, in Republic of the Sudan then. There was a conflict, intra-communal violence, which is well covered here in this book. The Maasai of Kenya used to migrate to Tanzania during the dry season. And that almost caused a conflict between Tanzania and Kenya. Then the Maasai will come with their cattle and destroy farms, and the communities in the border were almost fighting. And what happened is the Tanzanians, Maasai, who are the majority, also always welcome their brothers to Tanzania. To them, in their mind, these people are not foreigners. But according to Tanzania, these people are foreigners, including their cows, their cattle. And that the Tanzanian government wanted visas for even cows at that time, because it became a real problem. And the Maasai chief from the Tanzanian side, you know, had a very interesting thing to say. He said, well, we don't know where the border is. He was told, you know Namanga? He said, yes. Yes, Namanga is the border. And he ran this way up to the other side. That's the border. He said, but we don't see it. There's no wall here. And when he was pursued, you know, he was pursued to, somebody was trying to persuade him to accept that there are borders. He said, okay, well, if there are borders here, these borders cross us, we did not cross them. You know, and I think he has a point, because they did not see themselves as different communities because they are Maasai anyway. The Maasai nation, that was crossed by the border without consent of these African communities. The point I was trying to make is that Africans are the same. We are the same people. In Gambela, I'm a majority, I'm a Nuer. Even my brother is the deputy governor there. There was one time when the ambassador of the Sudan, the ambassador of Ethiopia to Ghana was one of my brothers, and his brother was a governor in Ethiopia and all that. Like that. even in Djibouti and Uganda, in Kenya. We are the same people. So there is nothing that will, if you see a early warning in this country, don't ignore it as if it is not coming to your country. With this long speech in the evening, I would like to just thank the scholars who have prepared this book, the researchers who have written this book. They have done a lot of service to us. But to the political leadership and the diplomats on these high tables, it is one thing getting early warning, but it's another thing responding to it. It is also another thing engaging the political leaders and the power centers, the political power centers in those countries with preventive diplomacy. Thank you very much, Basama Masaganalo. This event is declared launched.
Thank you very much.